She's a very hard worker.
Reminds me of, at the beginning of Saturday Night Live, your voices like.
A new podium?
Yeah.
So welcome all. Happy Valentine's Day. I'd like to bring this meeting of the county board to order. It is Tuesday, Valentine's Day, February 14th, and it is 10 minutes to 10. 9:50. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Allen,
Present. Good morning.
morning. Bates,
Bates here.
Berman,
Herman's here.
Doherty,
Already present.
Davis,
Hart.
Ford,
Ford present.
Gums,
Gums here.
Iqbal,
Iqbal present.
Juby,
Here.
Kenyon,
Here.
Caius,
Vice present.
Leonard,
Leonard here.
Lewis,
Who's here?
Linder,
Here.
Molina, okay,
Roth here.
Sanchez,
Sanchez present.
Silva,
Silva is here.
Strathman,
Present.
Surgis, Tarver,
Over here.
Tepe,
Tepe here.
Williams,
Williams here.
Young.
Young here.
A quorum.
Wonderful. Could you call Miss Molina's name one more time to see if she's come on?
Miss Molina, did you arrive?
Okay, she's-
You said you had a.
Madam Chair, she's showing she's on Zoom, but muted.
Well, she can, thank you. Soon as she comes and says that she's here.
Open that window by us.
The wonderful issues of all of the technology. We have some very special guests today who are going to give both the pledge as well as the invitation. But before we begin, I'd like to honor this day with a moment of silence. 15 years ago, NIU, there was a shooting in NIU. We also have the Pratt shooting, which anniversary is 4 years ago now. Is that correct? Yes. And then yesterday, I'm sure we all heard, there was another mass shooting at Michigan State University in Lansing, where 5 students were, some of them critically injured, 3 died. So this tragedy of using guns inappropriately continues on. And with that, I would just like to have just a moment of silence to recognize the impact that it's had upon our communities. Many of our families have children who either went to NIU, who worked at Pratt, or currently are attending Michigan State. And with that, we need to honor them all. So please, just a moment of silence. God bless them all. All right, Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everybody. First, we have with us for the Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. David Moore, who has been in the public service for most of his adult life. He has served in the Army and also in the Army Reserve. He's a Vietnam and a Persian Gulf war veteran. He has served the citizen in Kane County as Deputy Sheriff, State's Attorney, Special Criminal Investigator, Kane County Coroner, and from 2009 to present, he is serving as a trustee for the Aurora Township government. So, Mr. Moore.
Please come up to the microphone. Welcome, Mr. Moore.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And then our invocation, we have Reverend Charles Jones Jr., who is our assistant pastor and our youth pastor at New Community Baptist Church in Aurora, Illinois, under the guidance of our pastor, who's like to be called servant. So we Servant George Rayford. Reverend Jones had received his bachelor's degree in Christian education in 2008, his master's of divinity in 2010 from Evangelist Bible Church Seminary in Chicago. Reverend Jones is here with his wife. They've been married 36 years. He has 6 grandchildren. His belief is that we must educate our children in the knowledge of the Christ to live today and prepare them for the future of tomorrow. So if he would come up to the mic. This is also the saying of iron sharpen iron. This is my iron buddy right here.
Good morning, all. Greetings in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. I want to first thank Ron Ford and this board for inviting me to speak here this morning. I count it a blessing as well as a privilege to be here on today. The Bible talks about in 1 Timothy, the second chapter, verse number 1, Paul says, I urge you that petitions and prayers and intercessions and thanksgiving be made for all the people, for those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. Shall we pray? Eternal God, our Father, we praise you and thank you for this day. We ask that you would give us and thank you for another opportunity to appreciate life and to fulfill our mission as your instruments of peace and progress. Please pardon us for our shortcomings. Help us to amend our impieties. May we learn to pattern our lives through your Son's example. Father, bless all of our endeavors today, especially today's meeting. Guide our discussions, enlighten our minds in every decision that we make today. Give us your grace that we may effectively do our parts as public servants. Bless our plans, our programs, our projects, so that we may achieve our objectives for your greater glory. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend. Well said. Thank you. All right, may I have approval and a motion to second to approve the minutes from January 10th,
Roth makes the
2022?
motion.
I would ask for unanimous consent for the minutes for January.
I'll second that motion.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, Mr. Iqbal has a change.
Oh, change, never mind, then we better,
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Oh.
there were,
I'll move and then Roth second.
Roth will second.
Madam Chair, there were some errors, editorial errors, which I communicated to our secretary. And she said it would be incorporated. So I bring it
Scrivener's
for the
errors.
record to your attention, Madam.
Okay, very good. All right, with those changes, clerk, could you please call the roll?
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Berman,
Yes.
Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Ford, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Juby,
Juby, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder.
Linder, yes.
Miss Molina, are you here? Roth,
Roth, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Silva,
Silva, yes.
Catherine, yes.
Surges, Tarver,
Carver, yes.
Tepe,
Yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Young,
Young, yes.
passes.
Okay, very good. It looks like we have, amount to public comment, that we have 3 speakers, but it all looks like it's under zoning. Would any of those individuals like to speak? No? All right, very good. Is there, and there's no other public comment that I'm aware of? That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
That's all I have.
that's it. All right, I've got a couple of announcements to make. One gives me happiness and sadness at the same time because it's a transition. Yesterday, both Mr. Berman and I received a letter from Mr. Onsick, who has notified us so that he's going to be resigning. He has accepted another position in a city where he and his wife spent many memorable and happy days. So he's going to be moving to Fort Myers I think, March 3rd. And I'm going to ask for your well wishes from Joe, and also because of the transition that's going to be happening with finance, to ask for all of your support and understanding as we shore up the team and begin our next steps. Mr. Onsick has been with us for 10 years. He is my trusted advisor and has given me great knowledge, great insights, and outstanding support as we learn, all of us learn about the challenges of Kane County finances and how to navigate those rapids and also peaceful rivers. So we all wish you the best of luck. And we may get a little stressed next couple of weeks. You'll understand. And just make sure you tell us to calm down and that we'll all get through this. But we wish you nothing but the greatest of happiness. Now, I also have one other announcement that it's probably not in my wherewithal to make publicly, so I hope Jamie Mosser forgives me. But Michelle Neerman will also be leaving. She has accepted another position as well. She will be remaining here in Kane County, but this is a local position. So once again, my trusted advisor, and Michelle has been a great asset to all of us, guiding us through the myriad of civil issues that we weren't even aware of. And now we have Aaron, who'll be standing in for her. And I'm sure she's going to do a spectacular job. So I'm putting you on speed dial. So I wish everyone, both of them, Godspeed in their new endeavors and great good luck and good fortune in their future. So thank you, Joe. And Michelle, if you hear me, God bless you too. So now it's my turn. If you remember, when you first all got seated on the new board, I talked to you about a challenge that I'm going to give to you. Today is challenge day. I wanted you to get accustomed to what was going on the board. It's February, so it's time to get started. We are going to be taking a look at finance and budgeting. Now, many of you, when you were reelected or elected, had on your platform that you would not consider at all, and I think this is very wise, even considering raising property taxes until you did a deep dive into seeing if there's any efficiencies or wasted spending. So Mr. Onsick has provided you with this book. Some of the books are upstairs.
Mine is at home.
It's your book.
You know that.
And I asked Mr. Onsick to put together these graphs for us.
As far as page 13.
So this one you're familiar with, correct?
Madam Chair,
the Yes.
wireless mic is right there.
The wireless mic? Yeah.
It on? There we go. Okay, very good. So this one you're familiar with. We presented it a while back. It's been sitting here. Some of you have come and taken a look at it. This is the distribution of all of the county taxes. So when you go knocking on doors, you're talking to a constituent and you say, how can the county be of help to you? And they say, cut taxes. It seems like that's just, immediate. And you go, well, the county only takes 4% of your property taxes. And they get confused with that. And my comment is, please go talk to your school board. Because the schools, districts, God bless them, take most of our property taxes. It's just the way Illinois is set up. But then if you take a look at this one, which you haven't seen yet, this is the general fund revenue. So you have an opportunity now to see where our 4%, how it's distributed, the pieces that we have. So here's property tax, sales tax, our reserves, income tax, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so this is this. Now, here's where it's going to get more interesting. Take a look. This is the required share of the general fund. And how much is our general fund?
330 million.
95 million.
130 million.
When you get your book, I want you to take a look at page. Roman numeral 37. It's about 123 million. This is a number you have to keep in your head, please. It's really important. It's 123 million, 143,000, something like that, 123 million. This is how it's distributed out through the county. This is a general fund. This is the money that you control, that we control as a board. The rest of it is special revenue, grants and whatnot that is allocated towards a specific program through a specific department. So as you can see, state's attorney, court services, public defender, circuit clerk, judiciary, sheriff take the brunt of it. These are the big spenders, the big needs for the 123 million. The rest of us, not so very much. You look at the auditor who's sitting here, 0.3%. So if we're going to do a deep dive into the auditor, it's, I think, pretty marginal. Don't use so many paper clips, please. So what I'm sharing with you is that if we're going to be looking, and I'm not picking on anybody for the judiciary at all, or court services or safety, but this is where the money is being spent. So I would suggest if we're going to start a dive, we start taking a look here. Now, here's the next one. This is required share of general fund revenue again. 72.6% of the 123 million goes to this department. This is elected officials, all of the elected officials, right? And if you take a look at what we have, energy environment, the great work that that department does, 0.5 point. Again, I wouldn't do a deep dive into them to find deficiencies and see if they could do any cuts or take a look if their compensation is too high, because I think they're running a pretty efficient pool. County board, a little over that, 1.3%. To run a county that's the 5th largest county in the state of Illinois. That's what we do. That's where the money is expended here. So this is, and you've been given, I believe, a copy of this. It should have been in your packet. So as another example of the homework I'd like you to do,
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think that chart is not correct.
Why do you say that?
You say elected official, it does not, should not include us.
No,
Yeah,
this is county board.
oh, that blue area is elected official,
It pulled-
except the board member.
This is non-government services. This is government right here. That's the difference, the county board. So that's,
We are also elected officials.
We're-
So you're counting double.
it's a different pool, budget pool. We're not under the sheriff's budget. We're under the county board's budget. And that county board's budget is allocated in this. So that's how we're taking a look at how our budget lines are put together. That's where that graph is coming from, Mr. Well, you're right. We're all elected officials. We're all officers. We're all officers. So that indeed where it goes. So the other thing I'd like to share with you, just as an example, is on page of the book, you can write this down. And if you haven't looked at this book, oh my gosh, it's a fascinating read. It's a book that'll put you to sleep.
Well, especially the first 50 or 60 pages, I
It's-
would say.
It is incredibly interesting. If you take a look at page 95, just write that down on the book. You're going to see the 2023 adopted budget by revenue classification. And it's going to talk to you about all the other taxes, about the grants that are available. So you get the big picture of what our budget is like. Now, remember, you asked for this. So if you, I have a favorite saying,
Yes, we
if
did.
you're going to talk it, you gotta walk it. All right, otherwise, don't make it public. Grumble among your loved ones. Yes, sir.
And you may have already said this and maybe I just didn't sink in. The difference between the chart on the left and the chart on the right that have the same titles,
Correct.
what's the correlation between the two?
This is how it's all spread out all together, the detailing of it. This goes much deeper into the county board, your departments, which I'm about ready to get into. So as the chair of human services, you are
0.3.
0.3% of our budget.
But the elected official 72% is the other chart?
Is the sheriff, state's attorney, it's the detailing of it.
Okay.
Because I wanted to make sure that you all had an idea of what we, government
So that
services. is about.
breakdown there is the 27% from
That's
this
accurate.
chart? Got it.
That's accurate.
That's where I'm going.
And these are going to stay here. And again, we've got graphs available, so you can take a look at them at your house. And if you have any questions, we got Joe for 3 weeks and then you got me. So I also want you to take a look at
That
page,
suggests there's no field trip to Fort Myers?
No, we can go anytime.
We have to approve. We have to approve.
I think we've got to wait till he gets his residence before we crash there.
I'm back.
So on page, this is just an example, all right? On page 1, and I'm picking on both the state's attorney right now and the sheriff. So Ron, sorry, you get picked on right now. On page 171 is the state's attorney's budget. I want you to take a look at that one. The only reason I'm using state's attorney is she's got almost 10% of the general fund. And the other for you to take a look at, and you can pick out whomever you want before we get to the assignment. On page 185 begins the sheriff. So here's your assignment. In order to get this done, the budgeting process starts in June, and we're going to have a series of reports given to each of your committees regarding the request for next year's budget. I'd like you, through each department that you are in committee, so it would be each of the committee chairs, to work as you feel best within your committee, because I'm not going to tell you how to do this. You can do it via task force. You can put a special time within your committee to address this, but I'd like you to do a deep dive into this. And you may make a recommendation that the departments are fine. They don't need any additional resources. You think they're stable, they're good. You may find that there's opportunities to make some efficiencies, i.e. cuts. Or you may find that they need additional resources. Pay equity to make sure that we're competitive with our sister counties and not even private industry or municipalities. And those recommendations should be brought forward to your committees no later than May. Because when we go through this budgeting process and each of your charges, department heads, other elected officials go through your committees and make their recommendations, which is made to the best of their ability, to the best of their knowledge, and to the best of their needs. You'll have a better understanding of exactly what the budget detailing is. Now, this is not all of it. As you go down, you can take a look at the finance page, and I'll have Jane send out a link, which will actually give you more budget detail than this. So you can drill down. And I know, Mr. Iqbal, your hand is up, and I know that's something that you enjoy doing. So yes, sir.
Okay, Madam Chair, I thank you very much for bringing this matter up. You know, the last 3 years, I have noted that this board is a rubber stamp board. It's a rubber stamp board. Every budget that is presented by a department or elected official, it is accepted verbatim, no questions asked. So, and it comes through the committee. And when it comes to the board, the committee pushes it up to the board. When it comes to the board, we are not supposed to ask any questions, make any line amendments. It's over. We don't have time. We have to get the budget done. So that's what we are going into, and spirally up. And in financial terms, it's called it's out of control. So I'm glad you are bringing it up. I think we have to wake up and ask ourselves this question: where are we going?
Bates, please.
Yes, Ms. Bates.
Madam Chair, I need to refute Mr. Iqbal's statement, because if you are paying attention closely to what happens in the committees and not just at this board meeting, you will see that there's plenty of discussion about many budget items. It's the people who don't attend the committee meetings or don't pay attention to the questions being asked in the committee meetings who might construe this as a rubber stamp board. I believe there's a lot of discussion.
And I would agree. I don't think that the board.
Madam Chair,
that I
Silva?
saw from last year, that is not the case. Hold on, Ms. Silva, you'll be next. Hold on. Yes. Ms.
Madam
Gomes.
Chair, I agree. I think the term rubber stamp is unwelcome. And I, for one, have not rubber stamped anything. You'll note that my vote has a record of that. Also, when we are having conversations in the committee, we do take everybody's input and we thoughtfully consider those things. Frankly, I'm offended to be lumped into a group of rubber stamp folks. I am no rubber stamp.
Here.
Agreed.
Dr. Silva?
Thank you. Good morning. Well, I do agree that this is an opportunity to look at things deeply and really delve in to see what we can do to affect a change due to the fact that nobody wants to raise taxes. I, for one, have flagged that down for many of my constituents, that we're getting to a point where we may have to do something if we don't come up with some answers. So I do welcome some of Dr. Iqbal's comments that this is a great opportunity. However, I, for one, and I know because I've had very serious conversations prior to votes with some of my colleagues, that many of us take these votes very, very, very seriously, if not all of us, because this board that we have now seems to be very, very involved and cares quite a bit. So I've taken quite a bit of heat, and I've taken on a lot of stressors in my life because I haven't been a rubber stamp vote in the years that I've been on the county. So I would invite Dr. Iqbal just to take that statement back, but I don't disagree with the opportunity, as he stated, to take a look at this and let's see what we can look for further. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Young.
David Young. Dr. Iqbal, thank you for laying down that, I'm going to say it's a challenge for everybody. So I appreciate that.
All right, so you're up to the challenge. I think it'll be interesting. Matter of fact, I think it'll be fascinating. And remember, we're not being intrusive at all. We're just being inquisitive, because in order to support the county as I believe it needs to be supported, we have to have a understanding of what the needs, the financial needs of the county is, current and future. And the best way to do that is to start figuring out where the numbers are. It's not intimidating. It really is not. It's simple math. It's addition and subtraction.
Hi, thank you. Davis speaking. A lot of this is a story that I've tried to tell to constituents for the better part of 2 decades now. And it's always a challenge. And I think I've even asked once, maybe it can still be an action item for our legislative committee. Imagine for a moment if in our responsibility as a government entity for collecting the taxes that we didn't include schools. What if the school districts had to collect for themselves? And we enjoyed, this moment in the sunshine of presenting to the voting public and the tax-paying public the other portion of that pie chart for what it takes to run the, government in the county. Wouldn't that be something? I don't know how you get there. It sounds like an impossible task, but gosh, in the meantime, the continued communication to all those folks, because all these years later, I get the same questions still and have to try to explain to them the school part there, almost 70% of your bill. We're not the boss of them. We don't get any say on how to control that part. That's a part of the message that we have to put out front, because we may be heading towards a time where we won't have a choice but to raise taxes to make it all work, or make serious enough cuts that the services that we provide will be, diminished.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Sure.
This may be too much detail, and you can ask me to ask you later, but first of all, I carry that chart with me when I knock on doors because laminated to explain to people. When we look at the elected officials, this is still an issue I'm trying to understand better. We don't control their budget, correct? So if we do a deep dive into, say, the sheriff's budget or the state's attorney's or Teresa's or, Ms. Barrero's, we don't control those budgets. Is that correct?
But you do approve them.
Madam Chair.
And
Okay.
you do approve it, and you can.
We can talk later if you want.
No, it's an yes and no, yes and no. So there is a way that is being done this year, that why salaries, new positions are being asked for, and we have approved that money is not being distributed straight to that budget, but being held in reserve, ready and willing and able to fund that new position once that individual is hired.
Right. Okay.
Yes, Mr. Iqbal, you had a comment?
I'll come back.
Okay.
Let Mr.
Yes.
Sturgis go.
The comment is, this is wonderful information and worthy of great debate. I would love this in a committee of the whole,
Oh, good.
not just brought on right now. Here you go. We're at a
Launch.
board meeting to do consent agenda items that have worked their way through committee. And all I would ask is that we kind of respect that format. Not that this isn't critical, but I think we could sit here for hours and have open dialogue and conversation to take shape on this. That's my only comment.
Okay,
Thank you for
so,
doing it.
And I appreciate that, but this is and I'm going to push back on that. Everything you want to know about the county's budget is in this book, sir. Everything. And if you want to know more, it's on the finance webpage where you can drill down to specific department to get your budget detail. So the process of speaking about how you read the book and take a look at it doesn't need a whole hour of discussion. And if you have those insights and those questions about how we control departments versus how we control elected officials, you control the budget. It is the fiduciary responsibility, 24 board members plus me if there's a tied vote, to analyze and approve budgets. That's why you're here. That's primarily why you're elected to this position. You all know that. So this is not hard. I think, to me, this is fascinating. You got to follow the money. And once you follow the money, you will have such an in-depth appreciation of the work that our departments and our elected officials are doing, because things cost money. This is not free. And to find out how efficiently everyone has worked, some underpaid, some under very crowded working conditions, and have done such an effective job for so long. I think they're to be applauded, but you asked me for this. You campaigned on this issue. Efficiencies and budget cuts if needed before we ask the public for any property tax increase.
Yeah.
And you've walked this. So I think each one of you as chairs of your committees have taken on this mantle of responsibility. It's easy just to say, 2, 3 people who volunteer to do this, here's your task force, take a look at it and report back. Or set some time out to have that discussion. Because each one of the departments are going to be completely unique. And that's why I guided you, saying that some of these departments are running so efficiently right now that perhaps I wouldn't spend a lot of time on them, because it takes up such a small amount of the $123 million. So I think you're going to enjoy it. This is not complicated. So please, it's just basic math.
Madam Chair, thank you. There's a lot said here today that I would agree with. I think I also definitely agree with Serge's about the point where we need to bring this up in a different setting, for the simple fact that there are some things that's dear to me to talk about, how it's definitely past time now to think about stepping outside the box of what we usually do when we're looking for revenue. And but we need to talk about increasing the opportunity to bring more tax dollars into Kane County. We need to talk about what we've been working on and how can we expedite it even faster is our economic development plan. And it's one thing to continue to try to get what we have out of people that's already here. But if we can bring in outside revenue that's going to be consistent to the county, I think that's more of a long-term answer. And one of my other beef is what properties do we own that we hold on to that we don't need anymore, that we can turn back over into tax dollars? So those discussions, I think those thoughts need to be a part of our discussions.
I think that's going beyond this exercise, but I'm not arguing with, but that is another topic to be had. We're actually taking a look at allocated budgets right now, not on potential new revenue, but I agree with you. So to both of the gentlemen's point, I believe that would love for you to get done with this exploration and have the report done in May. And then in June, we'll schedule a committee of the whole where we can bring back your findings as a whole And we can talk about perhaps Mr. Ford's idea of de-accessing property, as well as opportunities for increased economic development as we start going through the budgeting cycle. Okay, so you ready for the challenge? I think you're going to have fun.
Madam Chair, just one really quick comment. I just don't want to diminish the responsibility that's been happening by our elected officials. Some of them have done amazing
I agree.
work
I agree.
and they're extremely efficient with the money that they do have. And I do not want to lose sight of the fact that we literally have been talking for years about how underfunded Kane County is as a whole. And I, for one, did not campaign on the fact that I won't raise your taxes. I just tell the truth. And sometimes, you know, yes, there can be things that we hopefully will find. We can create revenue. We've reached out amongst each other and had conversations. I recently reached out for a revenue source here in King County for a business, a distribution center for marijuana. Those are revenue sources. It's an ongoing conversation. I just don't want to lose sight of the fact that for the last few years, we are not funded properly. We're not. And that is got to be part of our deep dive as well.
Oh, I agree. As I mentioned, you wanted to look at efficiencies. Lovely.
That's part of the problem, right?
You
So
wanna-
let's-
you wanna
let's
take a
keep
look
that
at-
in mind as well.
At
That's all.
opportunities where things are fine, perfect. You want to look at where the challenges are, where the gaps are, and what the money resources are needed to improve those efficiencies and opportunities. And remember, we're here to serve the people of Kane County. So we have to make sure that we have the government that is there to serve the people and all of its array of challenges, opportunities, and needs. We have to provide that. So whatever, just want to have you all have a grasp of it. So if you're going to talk it, you got the knowledge behind you to walk it. Okay. By putting a man in a pair of 3-inch heels. Good luck with that, my metaphor. Okay, thank you so much for the liberty of this. Please take a look at this. Mr. Doherty, I took your book because I accidentally left mine at home. I will return it, keep the paper clips on there. So you'll have it all marked when you're able to come to the office to pick it up. All right, so now we have some various proclamations. We have a proclamation for the Kane County Clerk's Office. Who's going to be delivering that today? Mr. Sanchez, please, floor is yours.
Would you like me to read it from here?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this is the 2023 proclamation recognizing the Kane County Clerk's Office for the U.S. Center for Election Excellence Distinction. This proclamation highlights the 2022 distinction given to the Kane County Clerk's Office as one of 10 election authorities across the country selected as a U.S. Center for Election Excellence. So I'll start to read the paragraphs. Whereas the Kane County Clerk, John A. Cunningham, and his staff are committed to leadership in election administration and look to develop even more resilient, trustworthy, and voter-centric election administration practices. And whereas the Kane County Clerk's Office strives to be the most transparent, accessible, and secure election authority in Illinois. And whereas the Kane County Clerk's Office has developed innovative ways to serve the public, including expanding early voting, establishing a call center to resolve election day questions, developing a voter outreach program to increase voter registration and early voting, and improving technology. And whereas the Kane County Clerk's Office during the November 8th, 2022 election experienced an unprecedented number of poll watchers during early voting, vote by mail processing, and on election day. And whereas the nonpartisan U.S. Alliance for Election Excellence is a nationwide program dedicated to advancing the integrity and accessibility of elections. And whereas the Kane County Clerk's Office in 2022 was one of only 10 election authorities in the country selected by the U.S. Alliance for Election Excellence as a U.S. Center for Election Excellence. And whereas the Kane County Clerk's Office will receive a $2 million grant for election-related improvements as a U.S. Center for Election Excellence to further enhance the election experience for Kane County's 301,004 registered voters as of November 22nd, 2022. Now therefore, be it resolved that members of the Kane County Board recognize the Kane County Clerk and his staff for receiving the honor of being a U.S. Center for Election Excellence for their leadership as a model for other election authorities in Illinois and across the country. With that,
Thank you.
with that, I would move to my motion is to pass this proclamation.
Okay, very good. Motion and a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
I'd like to have a discussion about this.
Oh, sure, absolutely, Mr. Young.
Did anyone take a look at what the U.S. Alliance for Election Excellence is and what that program is about on the website? And how they're funded? I'm just curious if anyone knows anything about that.
Ms. Brady, do you have any knowledge of it? Celeste? No. Mr. Sanchez?
I didn't look into the organization at this time.
Okay. It appears to be a privately funded organization. And the $2 million grant that we're going to be receiving for the Kane County Clerk's office, I'm curious as to what does that come with? I mean, what strings are attached to receive that money from this entity called the U.S. Alliance for Election Excellence? And I went to the U.S. Alliance website, and it really doesn't say much about who they are. It just says that, they're funded by some, let me go to the website. It's some kind of a fund that they're part of. And it looks like to be private money coming into the Kane County Clerk's office. And I just don't know what that private entity is.
Is it, perhaps.
Madam Chair, if I might.
And who funds it?
Service?
Since we don't have a representative from the clerk's office here today, might I suggest that we just ask them to prepare a memo of sorts and distribute that to the county board so you can get some more of those questions answered. And I can talk with you after to get all of your questions so that we can
I
get
would
that
agree.
information directly.
Sure, but I'd like to make a motion to avoid passing this until everyone has more information on the board as to who is this U.S. Alliance for Election Excellence and what strings are attached with that $2 million that the clerk's office is going to get.
You already have a motion.
We already have a motion on the floor.
Well, I can suppose it though, but
You can vote no on, because we already have a motion and a second, and your comments have been answered, that we will go ahead and forward that information, perhaps at public service. A presentation could be made, a little bit more
Absolutely.
detail about the requirements of this. Celeste on the mic.
You could offer an amendment.
And you can't obviously talk to and Jack Cunningham.
Mr. Young, if you want to make a motion to amend, that's in your power as well.
what would how would?
Or
that
to
work?
refer to table. Well, it's not a committee, but if you want to table it, you can go ahead.
Or refer to, if you table it to a specific date. Otherwise, it'll
Make a
it'll
motion to
die.
table it to the next King County Board meeting
Okay.
until we have more information.
I'll second that amendment.
Second that. Okay, let's do the roll.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Could I make a statement before we vote on that?
Absolutely.
Number one, I'd like to congratulate the clerk's office on this $2 million grant. That's fantastic. From a financial standpoint, my concern is, how do they have to spend it? What's the time frame in which they have to spend it? And those are questions that I would like answered. So I know, because $2 million in our budget is substantial.
Well, the clerk's
It's-
budget, yes.
In the
Clerk's
clerk's budget specifically, it's almost half of it.
Mhm.
So I'd like to know if there are conditions on this grant and just how it has to be spent. Because I'm thinking, if we could take that 2 million
and give 200,000 a year to the clerk's office for the next 10 years, that would be a substantial increase for them and would really help balance their budget. But I don't know if we have to spend it all in a year or how we have to spend it or what conditions are attached. So yeah, I would very much like to know that.
Yes, sir.
Point of order is if we have a
We have a
motion
motion. We-
and a second to postpone till the next meeting, that I don't think there's a discussion, is there, State Attorney?
Able to a date certain, there shouldn't be any more discussion, I don't think.
I think closes discussion.
Very good.
So we
Okay.
vote on
So we,
the,
we have comments, and I think, I believe that Mr. Cunningham and Mr. Sanchez will handle this appropriately. So we have a motion to amend the motion. So could you
Table it.
please call the roll?
No,
No,
the
no, no.
table.
to
motion to
move-
table,
Table
To
to the
postpone
next.
to-
postpone till the next meeting.
Postpone to-
Okay,
Ready?
all right. Ellen?
Ellen, aye.
Bates?
Bates, no.
Berman?
Berman, yes.
Doherty?
Yes.
Davis?
Davis, yes.
Ford?
Or no.
Gums?
Gums, no.
Iqbal?
Iqbal, yes.
Juby?
Maybe no.
Kenyon?
No.
Caius?
Yes, no.
Leonard?
Leonard, yes.
Lewis?
Lewis, no.
Linder?
Linder, no.
Molina's not here. Roth?
Roth, yes.
Sanchez?
Sanchez, no.
Silva?
Silva, no.
Strathman?
Strathman, no.
Surgis? Tarver?
Tarver, no.
Tepe?
Tepe, no.
Williams?
Williams, yes.
And Mr. Young?
Young, yes.
Okay. 13 no's.
Yeah.
So I would say that would fail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. 10, 13.
And 13. All right. So the motion passes. So now we have to have a vote again
On the
on-
proclamation.
on the proclamation as amended.
I'm sorry, it failed.
It failed.
The postponement.
Get tabled.
Now I have to go back. So it's been
Failed.
tabled until, no, it's been postponed.
But failed. So now we can take,
Postpone.
Oh, we're going,
Is there,
That's okay.
I want it in.
it failed.
The postponement. failed.
Perfect.
I don't have an answer.
question, Madam Chair, does this allow then discussion now before we vote on?
Yes.
you can resume discussion on the
Yes,
original.
now we have discussion, yes.
So
Is there any discussion? Yes, Mr. Young.
And if
Thank you.
you want, you can, on your computers, you can go to the US Alliance for Election Excellence and take a look at it, but I'm just curious as to who this group is and who's funding the group. And I'm looking at their website right here and it says, how is the Alliance selecting the Centers for Election Excellence? The number one reason is excitement and willingness to participate in the program. So that just seems odd for me, because if you have, and you're a center of excellence, let's say it's your center of excellence for fill in the blank, typically you have to meet certain requirements. You have to meet, for example, whatever, we reduce number of mail-in ballots that went to dead people by X percentage. It's very vague. So I'm against this. So I think that everyone should take a look at what the Alliance is all about. And as we move forward with this, because it just seems like this private money coming into our county, we'll see what it's all about. But that's why I'd like to have a report. And Mr. Sanchez, I'd love to talk to you, later about what this is all about.
walk down the hill and ask him.
What happened is that when we get this packet of information, Sunday, right? So, we didn't have time to,
Now you're
in the rabbit
hole.
I believe.
am I?
Hold on, please. Please courtesy, please courtesy. Mr. Young has the ability to say what he wants. Yes, yes, sir.
Linder,
Linder.
we're voting to congratulate the clerk on the receipt of this money. We are not voting whether or not to accept this money. That's not the matter before the board. The matter before the board is passing a proclamation that recognizes that the clerk has done some work and earned $2 million as an award. I think your questions should be answered. And I'm sure that Mr. Sanchez will work with the clerk to get those answers. But we're not voting whether or not we're accepting the money. We're just voting to congratulate the clerk at this point.
Okay. I thought that the money had already been allocated.
No, he can.
No. No, this is just a congratulations. The award he's been notified of the award. Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, thank you. Tepe here. Personally, I want to really recognize this as showing and a display of effectiveness, in particular of Jack Cunningham and his department. I think he has done a fantastic job of running the elections in this county. I've said for several years now, after looking at it in depth, that I think this is not only the best county in the state, but one of the best counties in the country. And I think that this award is no more than a recognition of that, an affirmation of the great work that's being done by that particular department. And it disturbs me that once again, people are questioning motives when we should be applauding the recognition and gratefully accepting the money. Thank you.
Very good.
Call for the question.
Doherty.
The question has been called.
Okay.
Mr. Doherty, sorry. Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay, this is for the proclamation. Ellen,
No, that's not how that's done. You don't just stop because someone calls a question. You vote on the question first.
where?
Point of order.
Question.
There's a motion to call the question. There needs to be a second.
Is there a second to call the question?
Sanchez.
Mr. Sanchez seconds.
Okay. Ready?
Ready?
Ellen? Miss Ellen?
Alan, no.
Bates?
Bates, yes.
Berman?
Berman, yes.
Doherty?
No.
Davis?
Davis, yes.
Ford?
Board, yes.
Gums?
Thumbs, yes.
Iqbal?
Iqbal, yes.
Juby?
Should be yes.
Kenyon?
Yes.
Caius?
Yes.
Leonard?
Leonard, a conditional yes, as long as we get answers to some of the questions we have, but yes.
Lewis? Okay. Linder?
Linda, yes.
Roth?
Roth, yes.
Sanchez?
Sanchez, yes.
Silva?
Silva, yes.
Strathman?
Strathman, yes.
Surges?
Bill, I'm not sure what a conditional yes is, but.
It's
Tarver?
Carver, yes.
Tepe?
Tepe, an unconditional yes.
Williams?
Williams, yes.
And Young?
No.
Okay, it passes.
Passes.
I'm sitting
It's
behind
just a
you.
conditional.
Both hands.
All right, we've already covered the conversation about the
Point of order.
distribution.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr.
That
Doherty.
was the vote on calling the question. We still have to vote on the proclamation. Those are separate, those are two separate
Thank
items.
you. Thank you. So let's, all
Okay.
right, good.
You take, when the motion is made to call the question, you make a second, you take a vote.
Okay, so we're going on to the next one. All right. Now, please call the vote on the very complex issue of accepting $2 million. Ready?
It's not even, it's really just congratulating Jack.
Congratulations. Whether or not we're going to congratulate a man from getting $2 million. All right,
Right.
here we go.
That's really all it is.
Jesus, do we evaluate every grant? I don't know.
I think
This is for the actual vote.
It's here.
I got a doctor.
Let's start with who actually did the motion, and then
I think Mr. Sanchez and I think
Who
Mr.
called for the
Berman.
question?
The original one, I don't remember.
Guys,
No, the main motion. We're on the main motion.
Oh, the main motion.
Really?
we got-
Okay, this is for the actual proclamation. Alan,
Alan votes to congratulate the clerk.
I'm sorry, was that a yes or no?
That was a yes.
That's a yes. Thank you.
thank you. Bates,
Bates, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Gordy,
Yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Juby, Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Silva,
Silva, yes.
Rathman,
Rathman, yes.
Surgis, Tarver,
Tarver, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Young.
Young, no.
Okay, passes.
All right, congratulations, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Maybe. So the next item has already been discussed. So the next item is Government Day, and I will have Mr. Kenyon speak to what Government Day is for H Club.
That's next month. And I encourage that the Forest Reserve to step up and volunteer to take a young person.
I tried.
It's kind of our way of trying to show them what government's about, but I don't want, one thing I notice up here, we only have like 1% of our money goes to pay off our bills, unlike the state or the federal government. But volunteer to take a young person and show them what Kane County's government's about.
So how many students are going to be coming? 4-H students? Do you know?
I think 20.
All right, so perhaps we can get a list to you and you can all sign up and do a mentoring for a day.
Madam Chair, I know it was mentioned last time. Who's the contact that we do to?
I think Jane would be a good person.
Jane, we'll have
Her
Jane do it.
office.
So just let us know and I'll have Jane send out an email. So you can just sign up if you'd like to adopt a 4-H student for a day or for the morning.
At the last meeting, we had mentioned this and I did send an email that Cheryl had given me the email address and I'd sent it on and I did not get a response back. So I'm not sure if I typed that email in wrong or not. So if Jane could follow.
Jane will follow up.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
By the way, there'll be like a little breakfast, a donut and orange juice downstairs when we pick up our person. And then after the meeting next month, there'll be a lunch served downstairs. So you
Remember,
won't have to leave the campus.
and we're here to encourage.
Free lunch?
You want me to sign up?
I want you to sign up.
I don't know.
Well, tell them the truth.
We do want to encourage everybody to consider a career in government and public service. It's important. I'm going to wait it to dissolve the ad hoc committee until the ad hoc committee makes its last presentation, as in the jurisdiction of an ad hoc committee, and that'll be off consent. So it'll be dissolved at that point.
Totally lost track where.
Any other discussion needs to be had? Hearing none. I think we have any new business?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Madam Chair, I would like to bring to attention of the board an item that probably you are, I'm sure you are aware of it, and that concerns the fiber optic lines that county has. Some of us may not know, but county owns fiber optic lines to transmit data and high-speed internet. And these lines are several miles long. They run north and south along Randall Road, and they service the public sector. And also, we were allowed to lease a part of the lines to private entity telecom firms like AT&T or T-Mobile. But 3 years ago, that the state repealed the statute that enabled us to lease out those lines. So at this time, we have lines, extra capacity that is unused. We are using 20% of the capacity and 80% is unused. And that's a lot of money in the ground. I brought it to your attention, Madam Chair, in November and gave you text of the statute that was repealed, and you promised that you will take care of it. And after November, after that, in December, after the committees were formed, I reached out to the legislative committee, the two chairs, and wrote them a letter saying that this is an issue that they should take care of it. To date, I have not heard anything. So what I was hearing from the staff, they were complaining that they were getting calls from the telecom companies who wanted to lease these cable lines, but they were not able to offer anything. And so I reached out to Senator DeWitt's office and requested if they could help. As you know, the senator's chief of staff is Becky Gillum, who was at the board chair, at the board, and she is familiar with the issue. She asked some good questions. We researched it and answered her. At this point, she tells me that the senator knows about the issue, but where we go from here, I don't know. It's up to you, Madam Chair. You want to pursue it or you want to bury it?
Madam Chair, can I make a statement about that? That might.
Sure, absolutely.
So I was a
This is
part of.
Mr. Ford.
Oh, thank you, Ford. I was a part of this back when McMahon was our state's attorney. I had a conversation with him that kind of got this started. So one, about trying to understand this process, I believe that the word lease should be taken out of the conversation for the simple fact that one way to look at this is a service that's offered that people can use, where the costs come in at for those who want to use it is what it takes to maintain and manage the fiber optics and also have it set up so that as they're using it, if something happens within a certain amount of time, the repair can take place. It needs to be looked at similar to our water departments throughout, the county and different cities, whatever. Believe it or not, when you look at your water bill, you are not paying for water. I know it's hard to believe, but you're paying for what it takes to provide the water, to maintain the water, to treat the water, and then the distribution and the repair and things of the pipes and things that brings the water to your home and businesses. So the fiber optics should be looked at in exactly the same way. We don't need to lease or charge for the fiber itself. We need to offer the fiber, but yet the cost got to come into what it takes for us to maintain it, to service it, and have an emergency backup plan for those who are using it, so that within a very short period of time, we can have a contract out there to do the repairs. So looking at it in that way may change the philosophy of how we're looking at trying to use it. And this is a very lost set of revenue, are very valuable to I wouldn't call it revenue, but it's very valuable to the county as far as bringing very different style of the future businesses into Kane County that's looking to use this type of services.
So thank you both for your comments.
Madam Chair, I think this honorable member is missing the point that we don't have that leeway anymore. We cannot offer it.
Because of legislation.
Yeah,
I
it has been
understand that.
repealed. We don't have the power to make any arrangement, give it to anyone.
Well, no.
That's the issue I have.
So
And I have the same issue, just the word lease should be taken out of it.
as everyone knows, we, at this current time, we do not have a lobbyist that had, by your charge, that has gone out to RFQ. And we'll have the final list of finalized applicants tomorrow. I've already established a committee who's going to be just reviewing those applicants, and choices will be made and brought to the board for your approval. Until we have a lobbyist, We can advocate, but we don't have the opportunity to really consolidate our efforts down in Springfield. The legislation, I believe, has already been passed the day to enter into any new legislation. That was last Friday for both the houses. I think the week before, the Senate was last Friday. So this is something that we can work on for this year and figure out exactly what we're going to be doing with this issue, because it's probably not just impacting Kane County. Any other county who has laid fiber would have the same issue. So this is more of a statewide issue that we would have to get statewide support to be able to repair. But I have not seen the legislation, and I recognize the fact that you have brought this up. I'm going to need to get a copy of the bill so that we can further study it. So if you have access to that, Mr. Iqbal, if you could share that with us.
Oh, sure.
And then we can get Mr. Fonstock on board, and please, from the legislative committee, let's work on this bit of recommended changes if appropriate.
Madam Chair Combs, I would just like to extend, I do apologize, Mr. Iqbal. I dropped the ball on this one, so I take ownership of that, and I'll get with you soon. But
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think between the
Yeah,
legislative,
Madam
new
Chair.
elections going through and people being seated, and then this shifting in the end of our contract or our agreement with our lobbyist, it did fall through the cracks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, Roger and his staff is the one who made me aware of it. I did not know. I'm still a novice. Thank you.
Need to be able to take a look at this. Okay, very good. We've got a couple of things on the list for the lobbyist once we get them hired already. For sure, two for sure. Is there any other new business? Good. Sheriff, could you please do your appointments for the DUI task force?
Hey,
Good job.
Love putting me on the spot.
No.
You can handle it.
All right, so we have our list in entirety here. These are all the voting members. I'd like to welcome Michelle Gums and Mark Davis from the Kane County Board to the Kane County DUI Task Force. It's very exciting. These meetings last about 10 minutes. So yeah, unlike these.
10 seconds.
Give Alan on there.
Bella is still a sitting member. Thank you.
Oh, I see.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is not a rubber stamp board.
Sir, with Mr. Davis.
Ms. Walnut, could you please come up and introduce the people that have been chosen for the stormwater management?
Thank you. We have two new appointments for the Stormwater Management Planning Committee. This is a committee that is comprised of 6 county board members and 6 municipal members representing 6 planning areas throughout the county. It's following state statute, and so we had 2 vacancies. It does not follow the election cycles of either the county or the municipalities. They're for 4-year terms, and so these would serve out the remaining 2-year terms with those appointments expiring January of 2025. So we have the appointment of Michael Linder for Planning Area 3 and the appointment of William Leonard for Planning Area 6. And we also have the Village of Gilbert's due to our redistricting moving from Planning Area 6 to Planning Area 5. And that just means that any representative that is elected from Gilbert's could potentially serve on that committee in Planning Area 5. Those municipal appointments are done by Metro West.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations to everybody, Mr. Leonard and Mr. Linder. Well done. Yes, thank you. Oh, is there more?
Cash?
Huh?
The land cash
Oh, sure,
subcommittee?
sure, sure. Go right ahead.
Okay, just curious.
All right.
Yeah.
We have two switches on the land cash subcommittee. This is a subcommittee of the development committee. All the action that is taken at all the items that are discussed at the land cash subcommittee are taken action at the development committee. And so that outlines that any members of the land cash subcommittee are to be members of the development committee. And so we need to replace Leslie Juby with Rick Williams, and we need to replace David Young with Gary Doherty, who are both on the development committee.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Van Kerkhoff? And I think you've got three.
Morning. Very grateful this morning to let you know there are 4 individuals who have stepped forward on their own accord and volunteered to serve on whatever commission or board that we thought that they would be suited for. So you have before you this morning 2 gentlemen that staff is recommending for appointment as alternate members to the Kane County Zoning Board of Appeals. David Schultz is a local architect, also is involved with Judson University in the architectural program and the Fox Valley Church, resident of Dundee Township. He's transitioning as head and founder of his firm and is looking to commit more time to the community. So we recommend David Schultz. Martell Armstrong is currently serving as the Chief Executive Officer for the Housing Authority of Elgin. And obviously very knowledgeable and passionate about workforce and affordable housing in Kane County. And he has volunteered and interested in being also an alternate member on our Zoning Board of Appeals. So those are 2 of the 4 that I have for you this morning.
Okay, very good. Very good. Please, why don't you present the next?
Okay, next is our Regional Planning Commission. You could move the advance. Lucas King is a newer resident of Kane County. He's also gotten very involved with the Fox River Ecosystem Partnership and the Conservation Foundation. Again, has time and interest and but also is very excited about what they found when they moved into Kane County in terms of what organizations in the Kane County is already doing in the areas of conservation and the environment. And then lastly, for Historic Preservation Commission, Jim Pomillo, likewise resident of Geneva, has been involved at Geneva High School with the lacrosse program. He is in a role where he travels the country doing in zoning and development entitlements for large energy projects, and is interested in applying those experiences and skills of working with community partners in Kane County. And we had an opening in the Historic Preservation Commission, and he was happy to be appointed to that if you're so willing. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, we submit these names for you this morning.
Any questions? Thank you to all of our board members and community members who are standing up to serve the work of Kane County. Without them, we wouldn't have the necessary input and knowledge required to manage this amazing county. Do we need to go to consensus? I believe we have consensus.
Madam Chair, I'm not aware of the authorizing statutes for each of these appointments, so I think you would be safest by having a motion made and calling for a vote, motion second vote.
Okay.
Motion made.
Motion. Thank you.
Second, Linder.
Thank you,
I did. Williams.
Linder.
Are these on all appointments?
On all of them, on all of them. And clerk, please call the roll.
Okay, Allen.
Allen, I.
Bates.
Bates, yes.
Berman.
Berman, yes.
Doherty.
Doherty, yes.
Davis.
Davis, yes.
Ford. Gums.
Comes yes.
Iqbal.
Iqbal, yes.
Juby.
Juby, yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Caius.
Yes.
Leonard.
Leonard, yes.
Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Okay, Linder.
Linder, yes.
Roth.
Roth, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Silva.
Silva, yes.
Rathman.
Rathman, yes.
Surgis. Carver.
Tarver, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Williams,
Yes.
and Young.
Young, yes.
That passes.
Passes. Well done. All right, we're on to resolutions. Would anyone like to remove an item from the consent?
Madam
agenda?
Chair, before we
Yes.
go, committee updates.
Oh, committee updates. Very good.
Good point.
Are there any committee updates? Yes, sir.
This is Caius from District 23 and Chair of the Administration Committee. I'd like to invite members of the board to attend our Administration Committee meeting tomorrow at approximately 10 o'clock, depending on how much long Mr. Surges goes. It's been very efficient lately. Where we're going to have a presentation by Jason Dwyer of White and Company. That's one of our architects that we've hired and commissioned for the last year and a half or so to present his space needs assessment report. So to give insight on what it is that the county requires in order to perform all those duties we're talking about earlier, and having the tax money to support and make as efficient as possible. This is our independent assessment of what we were going to be requiring for space needs to perform those duties. So that'd be tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock at this location.
Again, another fascinating conversation. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Surges at Human Services Committee, we had advanced a policy regarding relationships, and at executive, we moved that back to committee to work with the state's attorney, but I had sent out an email to the executive committee asking for some feedback. Mr. Berman, you were the only one who responded, and I just wanted to publicly thank you for that. But if there were anybody else that read that email and would like to respond back, our meeting is tomorrow morning, and we would surely love to have your input.
On Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, what are you gonna do?
Definition.
Timing.
Of a romantic relationship. Yes.
I'm so sorry, and please, in your response, do not CC all, just individual. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Energy and Environmental Committee, Mavis Bates, Kane County Board District 4. The Energy and Environmental Committee is working hard on our climate action implementation plan, and our survey for citizens to respond, residents to respond and give us your input is open right now. All you have to do is Google Kane County Climate Action Plan Survey or anything like that, and it will pop right up. The link is too long to spell out. But please fill out the survey. We have had over 400 people fill it out already. Our goal is 1,000, maybe 2,000, but please fill out the survey. Thank you.
Very good.
Anybody
Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Iqbal.
Madam Chair, thank you. I need to report on the ad hoc committee on the Open Meeting Act. As you recall, this committee.
And that, sir, that is going to be presented later on off consent.
It will be. The only thing that I want to say at this point is that we have completed our work. We have completed the task. We met one time. We have a item here in the agenda that will be voted on later on. It's the same item that the people voted today, the board voted today in the forest preserve. They already accepted that for the forest preserve. My report is that we have done our work. You don't need the ad hoc committee anymore. I kindly request that you dismiss, discharge, or otherwise retire this committee.
And I mentioned that I will be doing that, but I cannot do it until you give your final report, which is required as part of the ad hoc committee. So once your final report is completed, which will happen at the end of consent, then I will ask and I will officially dissolve you.
All right, thank you.
Is there anybody else? No. All right, let's go. Is there an item you'd like to remove from the consent agenda?
Number 63.
Is there anybody else? Seeing none on,
Sorry.
yes, Mr. Surges.
Item 57, I guess I just don't, I guess I'm not asking for it to be pulled. I just wanted to acknowledge a hearty thank you to everybody for this particular item. As we move forward, this is one of those that we're doing a bit of an experiment on. It may work, it may not. We may come back next year and ask for a little bit more funding for it. But I just want to, I don't want it pulled. I just want to say thank you to everybody for the leap of faith on this.
I think it's needed. I agree. Anybody else? All right, may I have then, seeing none, last call? The motion,
Move the
thank you, Mr. Berman.
consent agenda.
Second by Sanchez.
All right. Okay, ready, clerk, please, except for item number 63.
Correct.
Yes.
Berman,
Yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Board, yes.
Thumbs yes.
okay, Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Juby,
QBI.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Guys, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Yes.
Roth,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Silva,
Silva, yes.
Strathman, yes. Surges,
Yes.
Carver,
Yes.
Tebby,
Tepe, yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Young.
Yes.
That passes.
Very good. We'll go in numerical order. American Rescue Plan, Resolution 23-51. May I have a motion?
Sanchez moves.
Thank you.
Berman second.
Thank you. Mr. Sanchez.
These are the invoices for our consultant, Ernst & Young, from August 1st of 2022 to November 30th of 2022. And Program Manager Phillips is online if there are any questions about these.
Why are we talking about this?
We just passed this as part of the consent agenda.
Excuse me.
2360.
I assumed I missed somebody pulling it off, so I rolled with it.
That's what I thought. I was like, maybe I missed.
Everyone's look, my apologies. I did not have breakfast
2363.
this morning and it's showing.
Kane County HVAC.
Somebody get her a snack.
Yeah. I had other issues on my head, as you can well imagine, as we talked about this morning. So my embarrassment, my apologies.
You're doing a great job.
I'll bet you were looking for Mr. Iqbal to move 2363 and then I'd second it so we could have
Okay.
discussion and vote.
Thank you, sir.
So now we just want to pass the whole consent agenda.
I should pass it all. So let's move to 63, since we will go in numerical order. So I think we have a motion and we have a second,
Yes.
and Mr. Iqbal.
You're moving. Right?
No, I'm not moving.
To discuss it, we got.
I want to discuss it. I don't want to move it.
All right, well, I'll move 2363.
Sanchez second.
Second, all right,
There you go.
Mr. Iqbal. Gonna go this way.
Madam Chair, this concerns the plumbing, the HVAC and maintenance repair services. I have no problem with the resolution. It requires that the county hires 6 plumbing companies who will fix the and keep attending the plumbing requirements as needed. The only question is, part of the defects in plumbing are not regular maintenance items. They are coming because there were defects in the design and construction of the new facility. And that part, I have discussed it with Mr. Fonstock, and he is very kind, and they are making a list of the items that are being repaired in the new building. At some point in time, I would like to bring to board's attention a letter or a proposal that was given by a law firm when this building was being constructed. The question was whether this architect should be made owner's rep during the construction process. Would he be looking or inspecting his own design and covering up opportunity to cover up his design defects? That letter was disregarded, and we went and gave this construction administration part over to the architect, the same firm who designed that building. And the net result is that we have some issues, and I will bringing it up later on. So for today, I just want to let everyone know that there is an item there.
But that was the decision of the board to do that.
Pardon me.
That decision of having the project manager managed by the architect was a decision that was made by the previous board.
It was by previous board, but it is a lesson learned. It is something that we should know that things happen. And when you disregard the good practice policy, good management policies, and go, without the due diligence, bad things happen.
And well, that'll be something if we move forward on another construction project that this board can discuss. I would like, while we're speaking about this, I would like to applaud the choices that were made. And as you know, I've always been a big advocate of minority, women, veteran-owned businesses and people with disabilities. One of our plumbing companies is a woman-owned business, and I support that, obviously. So well done with choices. We have a diverse representation, and they're all from the greater Chicago area. So the only thing I wish it was with Kane County as well. It's always nice spending Kane County dollars with Kane County, but they are regional. So well done. Well, very, very good choices. Okay, if there's no other discussion, and thank you for your input, Mr. Iqbal, clerk, please call the roll.
Okay. Ellen,
Aye.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Berman,
yes.
Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Gavest,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Juby,
Aye.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Leonard,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Silva,
Silva, yes.
Silva,
I heard a yes.
Yes.
Silva, yes.
very
Yes.
faintly. Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Tarver,
Tarver, yes.
Tepe,
Zeppy, yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
That passes.
Very good. Now, may I have a motion and a second to discuss and potentially approve ordinance number 23-77?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Yes, Ms. Brady.
Madam Chair, I would just note, given the portion of the Kane County Code that this ordinance purports to amend, under the rules of the Kane County Code, it must be postponed to another date. It can't be introduced and voted on the same day.
Thank you. So
so
we are
everyone's
simply
aware.
going to be introducing that and take the formal vote. So that means that you will not be dissolved for one more month, inactive, but not yet dissolved until next month. So do you want to introduce this first?
May I?
Yes, Mr. Iqbal, please.
Yeah, Madam Chair, this is a matter that pertains to the attendance requirement. As we know, during pre-COVID, there were strict requirements about attendance if you are not personally in attendance, there were only very few reasons given why you are not. And outside that, you are marked absent. During COVID, those requirements were frozen. And now we are coming out of COVID. May 11th, I'm told, is the day when the emergency would be lifted. And we will be back to pre-COVID or normal era. And this resolution pertains exactly that. It takes it back to the pre-COVID requirements. And that's, I'm told, is the law. And that's what this resolution is about. It goes verbatim what the law is, and then it gives us more guidelines on how we do video conferencing and so forth. this morning, if I'm sure you attended the Forest Preserve meeting, it was made part of the Forest Preserve admin guidelines or admin ordinance. And the board approved it for the Forest Preserve without asking a question. And this is, there was no requirement for them to sit on it for 30 days. It was simply approved. But if you have to sit on it, that's fine. I'm told, Madam Chair, that you will not enforce this thing until May 11th.
That's correct. That is correct. And again, and the Forest Preserve District has its own governmental body. So we have no jurisdiction. This board has no jurisdiction over the work of the Forest Preserve. Yes, Mr. Linder.
You know, we're going to spend some time in this in legislative. There are currently, if you read the newsletter from the County Board Members Organization listing all the bills that there are currently 4 bills out there that would amend this, but we need to pass this before May 11th so that we can use Zoom according to what the statute says now and those couple of little tweaks that we did to it, remembering we can only be more restrictive, not less restrictive than the current law. The amendments that are out there range from a real simple one that's simply just going to let the chair declare an emergency because it would be unsafe to be here and let us all Zoom in. That's about all it says. And there's one that's almost looks like a shell bill that pretty much wipes out the whole Open Meetings Act and says, do what you want. Doesn't say it in that language, but if you read it, that's what it says. Neither of those is probably going to pass in that version. So if you have input, I know I got input from Mavis this morning. If you have input about this whole thing, you ought to get to Ms. Gumser or me or any other member of the legislative committee, because we will be talking about it.
That's
And
number
eventually
3.
making some recommendations.
Thank you. Thank you. So there's a chance that this ordinance is going to be changed one more time. And when that is the case, we will reconvene the ad hoc committee for additional recommendations. But we're laying this on the table. Brady, Ms. Brady, do we have to take a vote on this?
Yes, Madam Chair. So
Okay.
section 2-52 of the Kane County Code that says that any change to an ordinance within that division may not be introduced and voted on the same day. And you would make a motion, someone would make a motion to postpone consideration of this ordinance until the next county board meeting.
Linder, so moves.
Surges seconds.
Okay.
And Surges. Okay.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Ellen?
Ellen, I.
Sorry, are we just voting on?
Postpone.
Just, we're,
Postpone.
we're going just to put it on for display, and we'll be voting on it next month.
Right, yes. Bates, yes.
Okay. Berman?
Berman, yes.
Doherty?
Yes.
Gavest?
Yes.
Ford? Gums?
Yes.
Iqbal?
Iqbal, yes.
Chuby?
Yes.
Kenyon?
Yes.
Caius?
Yes.
Leonard?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Linder?
Linder, yes.
Roth?
Roth, yes.
Sanchez?
Sanchez, yes.
Silva?
Silva, yes.
Strathman?
Strathman, yes.
Surges?
Surges, yes.
Tarver?
Tarver, yes.
Tepe?
Deputy, yes.
Williams?
Williams, yes.
And Young? It passes.
Very good, passes. Mr. Tepe.
Madam Chair, I move to go into closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees and pending litigation.
Thank you,
Strathman
Mr. Tepe.
seconds.
Ms. Strathman seconds. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Strath.
Strathman, there we are. Thank you. Okay, Ellen?
Ellen, I.
Bates?
Bates, yes.
Berman?
Berman, yes.
Doherty? Mr. Doherty? Yes,
Yes.
okay. Gavest?
Yes.
Ford? Gums?
Gubs, yes.
Iqbal?
Iqbal, yes.
Chuby? Kenyon?
Yes.
Caius?
Yes.
Leonard?
Leonard, yes.
Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Linder?
Linder, yes.
Roth?
Roth, yes.
Sanchez?
Sanchez, yes.
Silva?
Silva, yes.
Okay, Strathman?
Strathman, yes.
Surges, yes.
Tarver?
Tarver, yes.
Tepe?
Deputy, yes.
Williams?
Williams, yes.
Young?
Passes. All right, we're now going into closed session.
All right.
Yes, let's do a 5-minute break.
All right, everybody online that will be joining us in the closed session, please accept the invite that will be popping up on your screen. Be aware we are live streaming, so until I give you the okay that we're in closed session, anything you say will be going out live to the public. So please accept those invites. We are on a short break as well, so we'll have a few minutes before we get started again.
Breakfast things starting to catch up with me.
I agree.
Like purposefully.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm smart.
Oh,
Good. We were under the new rule.
well, thank you.
Bernie would not be able to vote. Because he's.
Oh, I like that.
No, but I'm.
I've been well. How about yourself? Please accept those invites, even if you are in the room here in the boardroom, please accept the invites.
Step out of your car.
It is still.
Oh.
No, it's not.
Yeah, we'll be.
I got a doctor's and I gotta go to. Already gave you.
I'm still missing 4 people, some of those in the boardroom.
Yes, Blair.
You. You always have such nice things to pass out.
Thank you.
Sound a little more sincere.
I'll see, make sure Celeste has.
Don't for her sake.
Oh, I just wanted. I read it.
Oh, you read it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you are the chair, you're not the whole chair.
I still have 3 people that have not joined.
I joined.
I'm fine.
Are you?
Yes.
Don't actually have a staff person who shares it. I've been kind of, it's just
You joined?
do it ourselves, I guess.
He's gonna start calling names,
These they're not always so attractive.
Blair, it's time to call names.
And there you go. Earlier, man. It's like. She's like, you should wear something real low context. Cause that's on YouTube now. It's interesting.
Okay, I'm down to 2 people that should be accepting their invites online.
I wonder if we can. I wonder if we can.
Yeah.
Eleven bills, like say.
There's at least, you know.
Here's your just one bill. You're saying,
Yeah.
Bill, how are you?
Has not accepted as your boss.
Okay, she, you know what, she was going into another.
That's, I did a lot of phones.
Go ahead and leave her out.
Food around.
Yeah.
What contacts you have with the county, and they either say none. Access. We didn't talk about taxes much, but if anybody asked, I said, there's no way we can continue. We
So you read through your budget, yeah?
services, Pay our employees if we
County budget?
it's more money.
Well, yeah. We've had worse.
Yeah, we've had worse.
And of course, like the closed session.
Those were the that came in, no facts, fine, like. There was. Maybe the whole.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Things that you're wasting time. We're the only government that has really no bills.
Very fortunate.
No, you know, debt service 3.1%.
Do you want this separation agreement turned back in?
That's nothing.
Okay, you are in open session.
I love these nice short. Here,
Yes,
I mean, somebody has to collect these.
yes. Could I, the
Agreement.
separation agreement, could we all have those, please?
Wait a second, I'm sorry.
Most welcome.
He was already trying to spirit it away, you know.
You're stealing my.
We did have your work for you.
Printed
And
on the
Dale
other
left
side.
his. Yeah, right? We didn't.
Let's see if we can get out of here before 12:15.
Romantic.
Write that down. I was right and Vern was wrong.
I know, I've just.
We're back in open session. Clerk, could you please call, ladies, gentlemen, clerk, please call the roll.
Okay, roll call. Ellen.
Alan present.
Bates.
there.
It's gone. Dort-
You can
Um,
Doherty, yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Davis, Ford, Gums,
Here.
Iqbal,
Present.
Juby,
Here.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Vice President.
Leonard,
Leonard here.
Lewis,
It was here.
Linder,
Linda here.
Roth. Roth. Sanchez,
Sanchez, present.
Sanchez, oh, there you are.
Present.
Yes, Silva,
Silva's here.
Rathman, Burgess, Tarver,
Carver's here.
Pepe,
Happy here.
Williams,
Williams here.
Young.
Here.
You have a quorum.
May I have a vote on the settlement approval in case number 21WC 02208 in the amount of 25,170 cents?
Bates moves.
And then second, Mr. Surges, seconds.
I think, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think it's the reverse. I think the first one.
We had up to, the first one was for an amount up to 24.
Oh, app 22028 is the one
Right.
for up to.
That was
Mm.
21 up to 24.
All right. So it's up to,
Madam Chair, I believe they were presented differently.
they were,
Oh, they were?
they
Yeah,
were.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you were correct in your
Thank you.
initial.
Thank you.
Apologies.
That is it. Reread it,
Repeat, please.
reread it.
All right, listen to me. I got this.
Hear me, hear me.
All right. Vote on settlement in the case of number 21WC 02228 in the amount of $25,170.
$100.70.
70 cents. Oh, 70 cents.
I don't think that's right.
That's what I
You-
have, 25,000.
Yeah, that's correct.
But here's what happens. We don't get the numbers right.
No,
Down opposite.
20.
Okay, it was my understanding that 21WC 005405 is the one we're talking about.
Yeah, right.
She wanted authority.
They were just presented in different order than on the
24
agenda.
numbers, 24 numbers.
Asking for consensus.
Confirming now.
Approval for up to
While we're confirming, let's go on to the next one. I will
Yeah.
put that
The middle
on,
one we know is.
I will put that on hold.
But maybe she read them differently.
Let's vote on the settlement of 21WC 033776 in the amount of $46,806.38.
Leonard moves.
Thank you.
Council second.
Second,
Comes will second. Comes down.
please call the roll.
Okay, Ellen,
Alan, I.
Bates,
Bates, I.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Doherty,
Yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Board, yes.
Gums,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Juby,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Leonard, Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Lena, oh, I'm sorry, she's gone or she's absent. Roth,
Roth, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Silva,
Silva, yes.
Rathman,
Yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tarver,
Tarver, yes.
Tepe,
Happy, yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Young.
Young, yes.
Yeses.
You found the information out yet?
Yes, Madam Chair. So the case 21WC 22028. That was for $25,100.70.
That's correct. So,
I wrote it down wrong too.
all right, are we ready?
Okay.
We moved.
Once again,
Surges moved that one and who's second
Leonard.
Leonard,
on that one?
very good. Clerk, please call the roll.
Ellen,
Alan, I. Bates, I.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Juby, Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Silva,
Silva, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Tarver,
Tarver, yes.
Tepe,
Happy, yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Young.
Young, yes.
Yeses.
may I have a vote on this settlement on case number 21WC 005405 in the amount up not to exceed 24,000.
Moved by Doherty.
Sorry.
Moved by Doherty.
Doherty and second,
Sturgis.
Surges. Okay. Call the roll, please.
Ellen.
Alan,
Ellen?
I. Alan, I.
Thank you. Bates,
Bates, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Juby, Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Silva,
Silva, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Yes.
Tarver,
Tarver, yes.
Tepe,
Happy, yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Young.
Young, yes.
It passes.
Good. May I have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 23-78?
Sturgis moves.
Thank you,
Bates,
Mr.
second.
Please call the roll.
Ellen,
Alan, I.
I'm sorry, Bates,
Bates, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Doherty,
Doherty, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
Yes.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, present.
present, and Juby,
Aye.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Linder, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Silva,
Silva, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tarver,
Tarver, yes.
Tepe,
Happy, yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Young.
Young, yes.
Passes. Mr. Kenyon.
Remember to volunteer to take a student next month. Then I move we adjourn before it starts raining.
Sanchez, second.
Adjourned to March 14th, 2023.
I'm not sure. Probably.
Favor